Have a seat, everyone. Pay attention. Or if you're, going to bed or whatever, just pay attention. A congressional candidate's campaign ad going viral. The ad from North Carolina's Charles Graham recounts what happened when the KKK came to his county in 1958 and a community of Native Americans and black and white townspeople stood up to the hate group and drove them out.
That night, they rode in with their cars, their crosses, and a single light bulb hooked to a car battery.
50 Klansmen. Not a bad turnout on a cold night. Problem is, they were surrounded by 400 Lumbees.
Simeon Oxendine had been a tail gunner in a B-29 during the war. Verdia Locklear was 4 months pregnant. Neil Lowry was the local barber. Hundreds of normal folks deciding to stand together against ignorance and hate. Lowry shot out the light. The Klansmen scattered. By the time the sheriff arrived to fish them out of the swamp, the press was running with the story. The Battle of Hayes Pond, where one town beat the Klan.
A piece of forgotten history, worth remembering, especially today.
Boy, do we need more folks like you now. Joining me now is Charles Graham. He is running for Congress in North Carolina's 9th Congressional District. I'm so glad that you reminded us of that and in the process remind Americans of it. Appreciate you joining us. Good evening.
Thank you, Don. Thank you for having me.
So what a story here. Why did you make the Battle of Hayes Pond such a central part of your campaign?
Well, Don, this rollout yesterday actually was intended to demonstrate to the folks in the 9th Congressional District that they have a gentleman who's running for this office who has demonstrated that when communities come together, as did Hayes Pond, African Americans, Lumbee Indians, coming together to fight hatred, bigotry, we can accomplish a lot when we do those things, as opposed to what we see today.
You say that what happened then mirrors a lot of what we see today. Explain.
Well, Don, on a smaller scale, I don't have to identify what the KKK stood for. We all know what they stood for, hatred, bigotry. As we move forward to 2021, I think the world knows what happened at our nation's capital. We have a divided country as we see today. I'm a candidate running for Congress, and I would use my voice to stand for what is right, to stand up for our democracy. In my situation, we have a sitting House member who has undermined our presidency, who has undermined, and to be honest with you, Don, has turned democracy on its head. Charles Graham, I was raised as a sharecropper's son. My grandparents were sharecroppers. I was taught value, how to treat people with respect, and those are things that I will take into Congress to work in a bipartisan way to make my community, the home of the Lumbee, a stronger and better community, and the communities throughout the district a much stronger and better communities. And that's what I would be advocating for, as opposed to what we see now from many of our representatives.
Since you mentioned the opposition, you're running against the current Republican Congressman Dan Bishop. Bishop was behind North Carolina's infamous bathroom bill that banned people from using restrooms that did not correspond with their biological sex, limiting access for transgender people. The bill has since been repealed, but you voted for it, and you put out a statement today apologizing to the transgender community and said that the vote was a mistake. What changed your mind, sir?
Well, Don, that was approximately 5 years ago when I voted for that bill. I did not realize at the time what would be the outcome of that legislation. I realized after the fact that it was hurtful, it was painful to our transgender communities, and I I made a choice that was the wrong choice. I've apologized for that vote, and in addition, Don, I did work diligently to repeal this bill, and I'm proud that I've done that. I'm a individual who, Don, throughout my life, especially my younger life, I experienced hate. I experienced discrimination. I confronted it face to face. And as we move forward and going into Congress, it is my intention to make sure that all people of color, gender, will have a voice in the general and the in Congress, as opposed to what we're seeing now.
What do you think your chances are,
partisanship
especially
and divide.
with what you're saying, partisanship and divide? What do you think your chances are? You think that what you're selling, people are going to buy it?
Well, I think as a member of the North Carolina General Assembly, the constituents I represent, they want to see their member working across the aisle, trying to bring things to their district, and I've done that. The House member that I'll hopefully be running against, Don, I don't know that we can say what he's brought to our folks in eastern and rural counties. But I can tell you, I have worked diligently to bring opportunities to the people that I represent, and I'm very proud of that fact. So my voice would be a voice as a uniter, not a divider. That's what we have in the current situation.
Well,
Someone who has undermined our president will not support his agenda, and I don't think people appreciate that.
Representative Grisham, I'm so happy to have you on. I hope your message gets to people regardless of how they vote. But Graham, excuse me, I don't know why I said that, but Graham, I hope your message gets to people regardless of how they vote for you or someone else. But your message is the kind that we need today, and I thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Don. It's a pleasure to be with you.
You as well.